We've seen plenty of sacrifices so far, f7, g7, or h7, so you're probably wondering, why do we have to look at so many of them? But the reason is because when you see how they work, you'll remember the pattern on different kind of features that one must have in order to make these kind of sacrifice work. And when you get them in your own game, you're going to be able to recognize those, to recognize the pattern. That's where we'll look at those positions. And right now we've got another very typical pattern. So we've got the position which black seems to be sort of weak. I mean, I have to say that this king on the Ga together with a few of the other pieces don't seem great in that scenario. But I think that we got to find out mostly how to continue with the king so that can situate so that he can have the minimum amount of defending resources. And I think that question can be nicely answered when we look and we say, well, the most important is we take down the most vulnerable piece. As the title of this lecture shows, the most important is the sacrifice on h6. This sacrifice isn't just about taking it down h6, it's about the follow-up to continue. Maybe that sacrifice is not a checkmating one, yet it completely helped us to clear the way. And so when black plays knight f5, obviously the only reasonable and most sensible way to protect. The bishop takes to f and e takes f. I suppose we have the move of long castles. We actually understand that even though white doesn't have a direct checkmate following in, when the castles happens, white's getting ready to launch the rook directly through the d3, so he can reach g3 or h3. And there will be no piece nor anything else that black can possibly include in order to defend towards this position. It is amazing, it is really extraordinary the way how it happens. After continuing with the long castles, then eventually we see that black can try c4, but then actually white has knight h3 coming out. A typical way of maneuvering the knight. So black tries f6, and we've got queen to g6 with the check, king h8, and now we've got rook h to e1. Really bringing so many pieces into the attack is very helpful. D takes d, f4, and then just another check from the h6. King g8, and then we have knight takes f. This happened in a gameplay between Vogt and Ullmann in Berlin, 1989. But the trouble is that when this knight takes really comes in, and the rook call goes through e3, it's totally impossible for black to defend. We've got one check out there for sure, but after king to p1, I don't think black can stand there anyhow. So the real thing is that after the move of long castles and black's move f4, with which he is getting ready to proceed with the defense, white simply continued the development with knight h3, getting that knight ready and moving it up to the g5. It's powerful because the exchange never goes. That's white has g takes h and then rook to g1 to make a checkmate. And when black's knight came back to the e7, back down there, white's got knight f to g5, bishop to f5, and g4. It's impossible to hold each of these pieces of black. I think right now g4 is extraordinary because it's again black takes on the g3, white is going to just retake, and then the queen and the rook are going to be like destructive. And I suppose if the black bishop comes down to the g6, and after g4 bishop g6, we also realize that then there is this rook to the d3 coming. The rook is going to slide over and going to continue with the move with some kind of threats like queen h8 and others. And should the white bishop take it, after bishop takes d and then c takes to the d, since queen h7 is very dangerous, we can actually do it. And next move we take there, getting a checkmate. So it is practically impossible. So I suppose black has to do bishop e4 to try and to get that bishop a little bit into the play. But then white plays simply rook to h to u1, queen b6, and now there is the move e6 to follow. How does this become part of white's attack? You're probably going to ask me, okay, let's realize that g4 was all about white getting files, or actually being able to sacrifice in order to eliminate the main defender, and so we can checkmate, was all good. But how does the move like rook h1 really fit in with the right strategy? Well, it fits not just because it's a move that will help us to take the bishop down, and we're going to keep the queen and the knight attacking down there, but it also fits quite nicely, as after queen to b6 and a move of e6, which we did, now it's extremely difficult for black to hold his position in the same way as you want to. So we realize that it's not just about the pieces, and it's not just about the way it stands, but it's also about like how it goes right here. I mean, after continuing with the move of e6, e takes f7 is unstoppable, and I guess black has only one way to proceed, and this should be bishop to the g6, which seems okay. But then black plays rook, white plays rook d3. I mean, we realize that any of the other moves that black can make are also impossible. Like, you know, it's just a piece of cake, I think, from this position. But anyway, you understand. So, for example, after e6, if black plays f takes d, then there is going to be rook takes c4. When he plays the move of bishop to the g6, actually, obviously, he's moving that bishop away from that dangerous threat. But then white does rook d3 with the very same idea, take down this bishop, and then go for the checkmate. I think it's impossible for black to hold it, so that's why he ultimately gave up, and he could never survive or defend this position anymore. What a brilliant combination. Starting with bishop takes h6, you see now, another path there that is very helpful for the attack. Destroy that pawn and get all our pieces ready. That was great. So this was a nice actual position to follow and also understand. Let's take a look at another example on the same sort of sort of path there. Here it is. So, we'll get a chance of Jacob to take on h6. Would it work in this case? Well, let's calculate it. You know, what's important when you train on tactical calculation, generally working towards the best moves for the attack, you want to also think about what the opponent will respond, and you want to be kind of careful about that. So if we do a move like bishop takes h6 in here, I suppose what black is going to do is to, okay, well, if he takes it, we're going to go queen takes h6. Well, it's valuable that we don't move the pieces. So if we play bishop takes h6, let's visualize. It's going to take, we take back with our queen. We intend to make the checkmate go. Black plays bishop g6. After we check, maybe we have a checkmate, maybe we don't. So do we play it? Yes, we do. Because the minimum is that we're going to take an e6. So you see, when you're going with a sacrifice, with the risk factor combination, you have to ask yourself, what's the minimum? This means, if I do it this way, what am I going to do? What am I going to have? So we realize that after playing with the move of bishop takes h6, g takes h6, and then queen takes h6, every single one of these moves is simply devastating because it just helps, right, open up the way of the pieces and, destruct the black king. So check, here, queen takes e6, and eventually black tries rook f7, will get queen takes d5 as well. There are way too many threats that I don't believe black is in condition to handle. Beautiful. Type of an exercise. But is that all? Not really. It's just the beginning. See, sometimes all it requires is you to go back from the beginning and take a look. What about if black plays bishop takes f3? If we take back with the queen now, he's going to just win our bishop. But the good news is that we're going to take with the pawn. This seems like it's weakening our own king, yet we realize that after queen takes h5, when the black pawn goes in there and he tries to defend, we can just go with a check, a little one, so we make sure f7's covered, and now we do king h2. Getting the chance to bring over the rook directed for the g1 is more than a simple idea. f7's cut off, and then the black king is really under danger of most of our pieces. It was a beautiful move to make this work. So, is there any other kind of example that I'd like to show you? Yes, why not? Here is an example that will show to you how this combination can work even in case you have something else in mind. So for instance, we've got this combination of bishop takes h6 without an ability to take it back with the queen. Does it work? Yes, it works. Well, note that the pattern of bishop takes h6 works only in order to destroy the g7. And if we destroy g7 like this pawn, it doesn't need to be an immediate checkmating prep or checkmating combination. Sometimes all it takes is just one move to capture. And when he takes back, we can do a small queen d2 continuation. So queen takes h6 is powerful. The truth is that black can't really solve this, and he basically plays king to g7, there is rook to g3, king h8, and queen takes h6, which is a bad checkmate. This is a really powerful continuation. What can black do? Well, not much really, especially with the move of queen takes h6. That looks so beautiful. Black can't do anything significant, so he's losing. So after bishop takes h, we realize the power of the sacrifice, even without a direct or straightforward follow-up. And then we have the most beautiful of all, a brilliant and nice kind of idea of utilizing three pieces: a breaker, an executor, and a supporter all together. Bishop takes h6, g takes h6, and now what do? Well, it seems like we don't have, it doesn't look like we have enough checks, and queen d2 here will be answered by king g7. But the pattern is something else. We can do queen g6 right now, and that's a very interesting idea. So we took away the h-pawn with our bishop, and when he took back, we do queen g6, which forces the king to come back. Check another time. And when he goes there, it loses by force. So we've got knight g5, bishop f4, now knight c4. It's too much. It's too many pieces involved into the attack. Black has a hard time holding them all away. And by the time he tries, the queen is going to come back and its previous dominating square, and 3 pieces are more than enough. So the truth of it is, you can only do knight h7 in here, but I guess after queen takes to d6, if not else, white really get 2 extra pawns and a perfect position to convert into victory. The proper sacrifice definitely requires us to be careful. One of the most important things when we consider sacrificing is at which point we would like to sacrifice. I often say that we have to sacrifice at this point where the opponent is strongest, because if you destroy him at that point, then what else do you need to do? We have a beautiful position right now that happened from a master game, and what we see is that White has really developed a very powerful looking attack on the king side. I mean, it's really amazing. He's got this queen on the h4. He's got that rook on the f1, the bishop on the d3. The only piece not pulling its full weight is the bishop on e3. But I guess it will come soon, and there will be time for this bishop to join the fight. So we've got to figure out now how to attack with these 3 remaining pieces, the queen, the bishop, and the rook, which are currently involved. It's not an easy job to do that. I mean, I have to tell you the truth. Those 3 pieces look good, but it's not clear enough how we can get them playing. And let us focus at which is the strongest point in Black's position. Now we discover is g6. So everybody will say, oh, I know, f takes g, bishop e, I take there, and I destroy you, don't I? No, we don't. We don't, because if we do that, it's probably going to have a little more chance for a defense. I still think it will work, but there is something better. See, here's a typical pattern for a sacrifice on the f7 and h7. How does it work? I mean, we are going to give up our queen, are we? Not really. What we're going to do is to play f takes g6. And now when the black pawn takes there, because h6 is even worse, when f pawn takes there, we follow with the move of rook to f7. This is a move that could happen with a capture Black has taken with the h pawn. But what's amazing about this move is that it forces the king to leave its actual position. The f7 is often called the Achilles heel, the weakest point of a castle king. You need to remember it. So ultimately, attacking on that plan often connects to some other points as well, and it's becoming a real mess, a very big difficulty for him to defend. Queen takes h7 is a serious threat. as well as the move of rook takes e7, and it's really becoming hard for black to decide how to defend against it. He plays h5, then there's rook takes e7 to follow, so this is not really quite great. And what we decide is that if we discover is that if he takes there with this king, then there will be queen takes h7, king e6, queen takes g6, and wherever black goes is going to get checkmated. I mean, king d5, c4 is a checkmate. If black plays king e8, there is bishop takes g6, and another checkmate from the h8. So black's position collapses. It's amazing, isn't it? I mean, knowing these little patterns like that can give you so many ideas and little things to do when you get to continue or proceed with your attack, but it's really working. F takes g, and then rook f7. Okay, what else? Well, let's take a look at another example with the very same sort of sacrifice. We have this type of a position. So before we sacrifice an f7, take h7, but now we've got a different position. As a matter of fact, what we need to do is just figure some way to make it work. Because if we do queen takes f7 now, if the rook takes f, king takes f7, rook takes h, it would be a nice looking, pretty sacrifice, but it's just going to come back, and that's about it. So we can't do that. What we can do, though, is the possibility to destroy his defense in the opposite order. The move that white chose with rook takes h7, it was a really nice shot. By doing this rook takes h7, black's king had to take, and then white did the move queen takes f7, which was beautiful. Playing that way forces the black king to move directly backwards to the h8, and the truth of the matter is that after rook takes the rook to h8, the queen cannot do anything too much alone. But if we join our rook together, then its actual threats are becoming unstoppable. And I really say that it's unstoppable. Every single one of these moves. To tell you, I don't see any real sufficient order or way how black can hold it off. But most importantly, his rooks are away. So it's a big disaster over here. The move rook takes h7 works, and you see another example of using that same pattern to become more successful. So, this is clear, but how about if there is a more complex position? What we're going to see is a practical exercise from a game played between two masters of the past. Okay, so here we have, that is the position. And the question is, how can white continue his flying attack? See, when I'm looking at this position at first, I think white's got a lot. See, anytime when there's a new position, first a good idea to evaluate it so we can see what it's all about and what are the key features about it. So white has really got a lot, mostly starting with the idea that he's got this queen on the f3, he's got the bishop on the h6 that are really well placed out there. White's got the h-pawn, and it actually has got a lot of strength and power out there. This is great. This is fantastic. But how do we make this work? Sacrifice on f7, h7 don't seem to work because there is way too many pieces for a duel until white reaches h7. But at least it's a good idea to consider it. And maybe, if we find a way how this can work, we can practically make it work. So, I think that this question has a very nice and simple answer. If you want to make your attack to work, I mean, really to work, what you need to do is to focus at the possibility of making forcing moves in a row, like checks, captures, and direct threats that are not going to be good when it comes to your opponent. So you see that the checks, captures, and direct threats that you can follow are going to be the way in which you make your initiative work. So you see, these are very powerful and very valuable kinds of moves. This is why, when we look at this position, we see that black's king is restricted. The majority of his pieces are backward, but the most important is that white must call forcing. I know what you say. H takes g. Well, I think it's a good move. To tell you the truth, I like that, and I think it's probably going to help us to get the H line open, so it's, why not? I mean, let's get it down. But, you see, what I'm thinking about it is that it probably will not be enough. H takes g. Like we take back. And that's just about it. Nothing special comes, or f6g maybe. What we need to do is choose something else. Through how I told you that white needs to clear the way on the edge so that his rook can get there. Or probably we can do it if we follow its enforcing moves. The first one being bishop b5 to attack the rook. See, this move does not clear the way on the king side because it looks like a completely strange move from the queen side. But what it does is that it actually forces black's rook to move out of the way. Like, for example, to go onto the d8. I think it may go also at e7. That's a possibility as well. Although now in this case, I guess we can take it, and captures, and then bishop to the g5. And we realize that's going to be worse, as after playing with the move of bishop g5 here, and now white has another very beautiful combination with queen f6. This means it was going to force black to lose, because if you take it, then there is just no way how black can prevent the rook h8 checkmate. It's too dangerous. And on the other hand, if after queen f6 black plays bishop to g7, we've got queen to d8 with a check, then there is bishop to f8, and now bishop f6. Once more time. Rook h8 is a beautiful checkmate. Black can't make that work. I think after bishop to the g5, the worst of all is that black can maybe go for, this just doesn't look right. And actually after bishop to b5, since the rook cannot move away, probably we have to go queen to b3. And now we realize that there is something else to follow. Okay, 1 second. He plays first rook to d8. Queen b3 was the next move. Sorry about that. Well, why did bishop g5? And seeing that obviously this rook cannot be defended, black played queen b3, hoping to attack against this bishop and at least sacrifice an exchange. But even that didn't work. Why? Because after h takes g, f takes g. This is the moment of real truth. This is the moment when white plays rook takes h7. And the disaster is complete. There's just no way of black holding on the king side. Rook takes h7 connects the threat of queen f7, which is going to be very difficult for black to handle. And after the king took back there, then there was queen f7, followed bishop g7 with bishop f6. It's interesting how every single move that white made has been forcing since the start. Now we discover rook g8 is the only way we can defend, and now what we do? We seem like the third piece is really needed. We have two and we don't have enough. Well, I think now the third piece is coming when white plays bishop e8. This is really amazing. The g6 is attacked, the black queen is totally away from the right area. What can you do? Well, nothing, After the move of bishop e8, bishop f5. D takes f5, perhaps black will destroy the bishop, but then the pawn is supported. So the queen can give a check. And another checkmate. That is an extraordinary sequence by white. So the initiative happens when you continue with moves that are forcing threats or problems against your pawn with checks, captures, and direct threats. But the more valuable thing is if you see an idea, don't give up on it because it's not working. Keep looking. Ask yourself, how can I make it work? And now we realize that after the exchange and then rook takes h7, black can stop or hold that checkmate. A beautiful solution.
Thank you for watching the video. Don't forget to give us a like and subscribe.